I like to take risks and I like to do scary things. He's like, you're crazy, but here we go.
Are you glad with that decision looking back?
Hell yeah. They're not looking at building a long-term successful business that takes 10, 15, 20 years to build.
There's a delusion happening.
Like, come the on. You think in a year you're going to be a millionaire?
There's just a lack of self-awareness because it's like the value exchange is mismatched.
Truth be told, I was a main. Because some people didn't want to be on TV, we had to scale me back to a friend. It's amazing for business.
It's a great tool.
And anyone pretending that it's not is lying.
Get a husband to read the fine print.
Didn't you get arrested? I only had one horror story, and I will not say who it is.
What does it rhyme with?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a lot. I cannot believe you have 4 children and you are running your company and you're on television.
Hold on. I'm not running my company.
Okay. And we're going to get into that.
Yes.
But you still have 4 children and you're doing what you're doing, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, a lot. Let's go back. Let's get your story.
Okay.
When you were a little girl, was there sort of a epiphany or eureka moment where you knew that you were into business, fashion, styling?
So my mom used to sell cast covers. Go with me here. It's the 80s. People wanted to cover their casts with like neon spandex looking stuff. Don't know why. And she would sell it at the flea market in San Diego. And I was like, Mom, I want to sell at the flea market too. So I would spend the week making like puffy paint sweatshirts, jewelry. And my mom had a rule, like she wouldn't buy me stuff, but she'd buy me the materials to make things growing up. And so I would set up my little card table next to her. I sold nothing, by the way, because no one wanted like a little girl's like dumb stuff. But I just had this like, I want to sell too. I want to be in business too. And my mom also sold Amway products. And so I watched her do that. And I think for me, I was like, I want to do that someday. I didn't know it was going to be fashion, but that was something that I liked that path.
I mean, I think that's so good for a kid, even if you weren't selling anything, to see the process of making the shirt or making the thing and then setting it up and then being at the event. I think that's important if they want to be a business owner. I think it's good practice.
It's great practice, and it's great to get rejection in front of you early on.
Yeah.
Because
Talk about
as we know, you're rejected like your whole life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the people that don't know that and experience it late in life, especially if they were raised by parents where everyone got an award, I think it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think even like, this is like kind of a strange, but even doing this show for as long as we have, we still get so many no's when we reach out to people. And they must be
I'm
crazy.
shocked.
No, but over time we've gotten more, and I think there's more people that are willing to come on these properties, but still to this day, like it's not always a yes. It's a lot of no's, and we still deal with that.
What are some rejections that you experienced really early on when you just were getting started? Maybe even before your brand.
So before the brand, good rejections. I was a dancer in high school. I went to a performing arts high school.
Did you grow up in San Diego?
I grew up half in San Diego. Then we moved to Florida when I was 9.
Okay.
And there was a multi-division department of arts. And so I got into dance, but I secretly liked other different departments that I didn't get into. And from day one, they're like, you're too tall, you ruin the symmetry, your breasts are too big. Like, you can never be in the front with the boys because they haven't hit puberty, so they can't get their arms, over your head to like spin you and do pirouettes. And in the back, you just ruin the symmetry. So I was like, cool, where do I go from here? And I went to the costume department, and that's where the costume teacher was like, oh, finally someone that gives a shit about this, and really took me under her wing and taught me the craft of draping, pattern making, design. And as hard as that was to experience, especially in your teenage years, it was a blessing in disguise because that was the path I ended up taking and loving.
So sort of like the foundation, it sounds like, has a lot to do with costume making.
Costume making and rejection, yes.
It sounds like too, when you're doing costume making, sort of what flatters a body, I would think.
Yes. And what also like brings out a character's essence, right? I mean, I don't need to apply that to that degree today. We're making contemporary clothing and bags and shoes, but it definitely gives you a deeper framework for how to make a person look, what makes them feel good. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. I mean, in 4 hours a day, I was in that department, just making costumes, designing things. And I feel like getting what you would get as a first or second year student in college, I got during those 4 years in school.
So what was sort of the next step in the journey towards your brand?
So my brother knew that I wanted to move to New York for Hanukkah every year. We would be given a subscription to one magazine of our choice, and it was either W or Vogue, and he would steal the magazines, and I would wait for him to give them to me. And I just was like, I have to get to New York. That is where fashion is happening. It's where everything is going on. And my brother came home one night from a party with just like a strip of paper with a designer's number. Said, hey, this guy said maybe you can intern for him, give him a call. So I called that number. The guy, it was a very informal process. He's like, cool, when can you be here? Like, we pay $3 an hour for interns.
Was he just a random guy, or do you know who the designer was?
I didn't know of him because he was making high-end men's shirts for women, which was definitely not what I was into.
High-end men's shirts for women.
Yeah, it was before the boyfriend shirt.
Okay.
And
This
so
is
what was that like working for him? Did he sort of throw you into it?
So I showed up on day one expecting to like be like whisked away to the design atelier, and instead the CEO looked at me, and she's still to this day a great friend and mentor. But at first she looked at me, she's like, ugh, another one of you. And she put me in the shipping department, and I was pissed. I was like, I just moved here. I'm sleeping on my cousin's kids' like playroom floor, and I moved here for this. This is not my dream. And then she put me like in every department, cutting swatches, making sales calls, assembling sales packets, like every area of the company. Sometimes I had to pick up her kid, which I was really pissed about, but she just put me to task. And then she saw that I could work hard and nothing was beneath me. Nothing was beneath me. And then was like, all right, I see you. Like, let's go from here. And where do you want to end up? And I told her, I said, I want to be a designer.
So at what point do you start to realize that you can do this on your own?
So pre-internet, I would get my work done with probably 2 or 3 hours to spare. And she said to me, if you go around and you ask everybody else what they need and they don't need anything, then you can work on your own line on the side. And so I figured out that model real quick. So I had 2 or 3 hours, and it was beginning of, I would say, 2001 that I was just like, if I'm going to work this hard, like I want it to be my name. I want it to be me calling the shots. And so that's when I started a line on the side.
And what's the first design?
The first design, although I'm known for the I Love New York shirt, was this like suit. Like if you took this suit and twisted it and had this part be over the shoulder and kind of be that way. It was like this tuxedo kind of, but on its side. So that was the first design. Which
Would you ever bring that back?
Yeah, I mean, people have brought it back since, and it's not like I was so original, but I still have it.
I feel like, what did you say the other day, Michael? Everything old is new.
No, I was saying.
What did you say?
We were talking about like the way people consume. It was funny. A lot of people now, like when videos went from horizontal to vertical. Now it's like they're going back to horizontal, and people are actually using their televisions again to watch the stuff that's produced. It's just like, I was just basically saying like,
it's all coming.
Everything
It's
new
all
is
circular.
old. It's exactly.
We should bring it back.
Well, I'll go dig in storage and get it out for you.
Like
Maybe I'll do a
it's funny
try on.
doing-
The archives, that's like cute. The Rebecca archives.
Yeah, I have
bring it
them.
up.
I
Like
have
when people share this
Read it.
show sometimes now, they'll share that they're like watching it on their television, and that's always trippy to me.
Right.
Television.
Because they're just, they're
It's
streaming
better
from
for your
YouTube.
eyes though, right?
It is better for your eyes.
Yeah.
So what point does you start to feel momentum, like a tumbleweed? Is it really slow? Is this been something that there has been no aha moment? When do you feel that traction?
I think that there's like small moments of traction that you feel like is wind, but it's nothing compared to like later on with social media, with certain TV shows. So I would say first bit of traction was an actress wearing my shirt on Jay Leno. She said my name on national TV.
Who's the actress?
Jenna Elfman.
So cool.
Yeah. So that had its moment because it was September 11th, 2001. I sent her the t-shirt on the 9th. She wore it on the show. So like it was an I Love New York shirt. Like that had momentum because of its own, what it symbolized. I would say what that did was it opened the door that I could call a store and they didn't hang up on me, right? Or I could go walk into a store and say my name. They're like, I think I've heard of you. I'm not sure why. At the time, that felt like a lot of momentum. When I launched the bag and Daily Candy. Do you remember Daily
Yes,
Candy?
of course.
Yeah. You're like, not so much.
Well, so I was joking. Some of these topics that come up on the show, like
I know,
it would be
I know.
alarming if I was like, I loved Daily Candy. Like, if I just, like,
We would be alarmed.
yeah,
Yes.
if I just like lost my shit, you'd be like,
Yes.
oh, it's a little bit of a red flag.
So that was huge when they wrote up. I mean, that put me on the map. It's like Oprah Daily Candy.
Did you create the I Love New York shirt because of 9/11, or did you just create it and then that happened?
I created it. I was already starting to sell it. And then obviously 9/11 happened, and then that shirt was perfect, and I was donating the proceeds, to rescue efforts, Red Cross. So like it had its own like 9-month life of just that's all I did.
Were you in the city when that happened?
I was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Soho. Well, when it happened, I was at a cotton seminar, believe it or not, learning all about cotton. And, a woman came in and she had this thick Southern accent. She's like, a plane has hit a building. And I was like, what are you talking? Like, obviously, no one knew what she was talking about. And then, like, the world stopped.
What did you do when that happened?
What I
remember?
did was I went to a payphone to call my parents because they had just visited me. I had my first fashion show the night before. And I knew they were on their way to the airport. So I was like, I hope that they're okay. And they were in a cab, rerouted. They were like, we're going to drive home. You need to get in the car with us. We'll come pick you up. Like, we're leaving. Like, let's go. And I was like, I'm sticking around. Like, I'm not leaving the city. And so I ended up staying around. And for the first week, I would say, with the recovery efforts, anyone who said they were a volunteer, they would kind of let through. And so I was able to help. And then after that, it got more strict. But that's what I did. I just went down and I was like, what do you need? You need trash shoveled. You need like water. Where can I be most useful?
What was that like?
It felt like the world had ended. I mean, it was gray and dark and you couldn't see more than a couple feet past you in the daytime. And it was intense. And you were just with all these people that were digging bodies out and trying to find people. It was like the world had ended.
I remember we were, I think, freshmen in high school when that happened. And obviously we were on the other side of the country. That was like, if you weren't alive at that time, that was like the whole, everything came to a standstill. And we're staying down in that area now. Like then we stay down there a lot, like downtown when we come here. And obviously we weren't there, but I can't even fathom thinking about what it would be like in this city with that going. I don't think people can even imagine like what, you walk around and you see these massive buildings, like it's insane.
It's insane.
There's not a New Yorker that would not want that shirt too at that time.
No, everyone wanted it.
And this is online sales were happening?
One website called Raven Styles.
remember
You remember that? So she would say like, I need, 20 more, 30 more. I'm like, all right, I need to come down, give me some cash up front. I'll bike to Green Street. I'll go to the vendor, get it. Then I'll cut them, bedazzle them, and then I'll ship them back to you. But like, it was a very lo-fi operation.
And so, but when that happened, I bet it was like more than 20. I mean, you could probably
No, it was like 9 months of my life. That's all I did.
That's all you did.
That's
Got it.
all I did.
Okay,
It was like 9 to 5 was making those shirts.
How many roughly do you think were actually bought and sold at that?
Oh
After
my
all
gosh. I don't know. Tens of thousands.
Wow.
And yes.
Did that sort of give you also ability to sort of move how you wanted to move within the business moving forward? Because
Not at all.
Why?
Because again, it was a blip that like stores recognized your name, but they didn't know or care if you did anything else. I'd be like, I have this really cool blazer jacket that's turned on its side or whatever. It was still rough in terms of I was like, I have more that I do. I'm not just the I Love New York shirt girl.
Well, and it sounds
Got
like
it.
that would be obviously a strange moment too to like capitalize on from like a.
She didn't though.
Correct.
She gave.
No, I know that's
I
what I'm
gave
saying,
all
but
the
like if you're
money
like, hey,
away.
I'm the person that it would just be like a weird way to
Yeah,
kind of promote.
it's almost like you gave the proceeds away, but it's like
But what I'm saying is
an
you can't be like,
interesting-
I'm the person that did this and now I need a career off of something that was kind of, it
Right.
was more of like a mission.
especially
driven
because
thing.
you're so multifaceted with your design. So how do you pivot out of that into your next design? What was the next moment after that moment?
I basically said, what else could I do in the t-shirt space that would mirror that? So I came up with this off the shoulder with this overly bedazzled like patch that I would put on and it had beading and embellishment. I actually got it right around the corner at Daytona Trimmings. And what I also did is I had a friend who was a publicist, and he would call me and he'd say, Teen Vogue just called. They're looking for terry cloth jumpers. Go. And I literally would go home, make a terry cloth jumper that day. We would submit it to the magazine, or he'd be like, belts, brown, fringe. And I was like, great, got it. So every day he would call me with a new potential story. So we ended up getting a lot of press and sales because he would just tell me what they were looking for, and I knew how to make it.
At this time, who are the it girls that are wearing your clothes so we can really understand the era?
Okay. So I need to give you more of the bag-ish era, because I don't know if my memory can go far back to the clothing era, but like Heidi Klum wore the clothes. I styled the first season of Project Runway and the commercial, so that she was wearing Padma Lakshmi. But then as we get into the bag era, it's Lindsay Lohan, it's Kristen Cavallari, it's Jessica Alba, Reese Witherspoon, Hayden Panettiere, like all those OG 2005 girlies. And some of them are having a great resurgence.
They are. How does that make you feel when you see these huge celebrities wearing your bag? Like, were you freaking out? These are the Us Weekly days, I'm assuming.
Oh, Us
Perez Hilton?
Weekly, In Touch.
Okay.
All of them.
So what is that like when you start to see that? And there's no social media, right?
No.
Okay.
Just to go in reverse, my daughter, who's 10, she likes the magazine. She's like, Mom, it's like Instagram, but in a magazine form. And I was like, this is so funny to me that she, likes to turn the page. So yeah, no social media.
I told you, it's all going back.
She's like not scrolling.
She's not scrolling. She's just reading. Last night at the airport, she's like, Dad got me an In Touch. I'm so excited. I don't even know if she knows who's in them, but it's very exciting for her. So no social media. So if you were on the pages of any of these magazines or the InStyles, it meant sales and it meant eyeballs. And so getting in those magazines when that celebrity would wear it. I mean, the Lindsay Lohan experience was like a drug deal. Like I was at this booth. It was like a celebrity, like you show up, the celebrities like will come through. It's like a gifting suite. It was kind of the beginning of gifting suites. And I went to the bathroom. My friend Ilaria, who's a really big stylist in Hollywood now, was helping me. And she was like, oh my God, Lindsay was just here. I had the bag. She didn't stop by our booth. So I ran out as she was leaving the Pierre Hotel and put it in her hands. And that's all the paparazzi shots. And so like that shot and that bag ran over and over again. And then the sales just come. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Lindsay Lohan, Michael, at this point in time, wearing this bag without social media, like I was in high school, I think. I remember flipping through those pages and you would see him outside Kitson.
Does that kind of response happen anymore? Like
in terms of that swell?
Yeah. Does that...
I think it probably happens with certain celebrities, but you can't get like someone as famous as Lindsay then wouldn't necessarily do that now. I think you have to get even bigger. Like if Kim's wearing something or Chloe or like those huge megawatts, I think do that.
I also think there's a bit of a difference where when like I post a purse that I'm wearing and I tag the brand, it's different than being caught out in the wild by the paparazzi in an effortless moment when it looks like it's not staged. There's something
they weren't
different.
being paid then.
Right. And so it's a very organic thing. Does that make sense? It doesn't feel so contrived or curated, whereas social media does sometimes.
Well, maybe you didn't have as many visuals of as many options. Like
you did, and you also had less. It was more precious, I think. Now it's like people know they're being paid. They know they're probably like wearing it once, and throwing it away. And if this woman was out with the bag, it's because she liked it.
Mm-hmm.
When you were sort of growing, what the celebrities, were they nice behind the scenes? Did you have horror stories? Was everyone lovely? Like, what was your experience as you were growing the brand?
I only had one horror story, and I will not say who it is.
What does it rhyme with?
No, she doesn't have to say who it is.
Give us some attributes.
She's very famous.
Oh.
Tell us some things she's done.
She's a multi-hyphenate. She can dance, sing, and act.
That's a good clue.
Is it Lauren?
I can't sing. I don't mean to brag.
I had a friend who called me in a pinch and was like, hey, we need you to be an assistant stylist for this celeb. And I was like, cool. I've never been an assistant stylist. I'm only the stylist. I'll do it if you get her to wear the bags. She's like, done. And so I send her the bag. I arrive to be the luggage carrier and luggage unpacker. And the bag I see is smushed at the bottom of like a plexiglass, box. And I was like, yeah, she's never wearing this. And I'm going to be her, like, I'm going to wipe her ass all week. This is going to be great. And this is what I will say. The woman never looked me in the eye, never thanked me, never acknowledged my presence. And I unpacked her shit and packed it up and did the like lowest tier of stylist work for a week in the hopes that she would just wear the bag once. And so that sucked, but it's okay.
But as you've grown in your career, I feel like that moment probably made something resonate for you. I would think where you as who you are, I bet you always acknowledge everyone now.
For the most part, unless something really terrible has just happened and I go completely like,
you black out.
I really am conscious of it.
You've seen all the different jobs. I think that's what's so cool about your story so far is like, it sounds like you've really worked your way up. And so you've seen every different tier. And I think that's important because some people now are going viral and getting this sort of like astronaut syndrome where they get so famous overnight and there's no sort of bricks or building blocks to get them there. So it's almost like an entitlement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't wish like virality or instant success for anyone because I think the fall from that is brutal.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think people that are looking for that viral moment or that quick cash or that quick success, if you can't sustain it, then it's really hard on the way down.
Yeah.
And so I think people that are listening and looking for that, it's maybe people say easy for you to say, but it's like, I think the slow build with gratitude over a long period of time, one, you can sustain it longer. And two, like a few bumps don't take you out as hard as, the drastic drop from when a lot of people that go viral and then all the next thing you know, it's like, what happened to them? Like that's very difficult.
It's like winning the lottery. You see them like win the most money that someone could ever have and then it's gone.
Who have been the people that have helped shape your career along the way? Do you have mentors that you've looked up to, people that you've talked to in New York? Are there anyone that you can think of that has given you really great advice?
Yes, my view of mentorship is a little different because I think nowadays people are like, hey, can you mentor me? Can I have coffee with you? And you tell me how you did it. And you're like, no, I don't have time for that.
Just tell them to listen to the podcast.
Right?
Yeah. Now you've...
Believe me, I'm like, here, you can listen to all the things I've talked about this with. But I think it's like, that's not mentorship. Mentorship is the person, like my first sales showroom who was like, Cynthia O'Connor, who was like, this bag isn't good enough. Come back to me in 2 weeks and change X, Y, and Z, and maybe I'll take you on. And again, there was no direct to consumer sales. So she was the gateway to selling to the department stores and specialty stores. And so that moment that she was so cutthroat and picked apart my prototype was what I needed. It didn't feel good, but I was like, cool, I got to fix this. And this is my only chance. And so it's a woman like her, or again, the CEO who took a look at me and was like, ugh, another one of you, but she put me through the ringer and was like, you need to know all the aspects of what it takes to run a business because you can't just be siloed in one area that seems like your dream area. So I think there's been a lot of those women. And then today now it's like other female founders. Doesn't necessarily matter if it's the industry that I'm in. It's just like I had a friend going through like having the biggest, most sexy company to then bankruptcy to then it being rebought and revived to then her moving on. Like all the lessons she learned in that have, are like what kind of stimulates me and helps me.
Besides the picking the brain for coffee, which I personally don't think anyone should do.
No,
because a lot
like
of
they
these
shouldn't
people,
do the coffee or they shouldn't reach out that way.
There shouldn't be a pick your brain for coffee. I think if they have access to their Instagram account or their podcast, I think there's ways to consume the content without having to pick the brain for coffee. And I do believe the pick the brain for coffee kind of people are not executing because they're scared. And so they're using all these things that they have to do before they actually execute.
Well, there's just a lack of self-awareness because it's like the value exchange is mismatched, meaning like what's in it for the other person that has
I
to
don't
do
mind that as much as I feel like it's forever student-y. It's like you're trying to be a forever student because you're not actually executing. You have to go and do. You have to go do. And the coffee thing is like, listen to a podcast or an Audible.
Well, I read some dumb tweet the other day. I guess it's called X now, where it was like, would you take $500,000 in cash or a dinner with Jay-Z. And everyone's like, dinner with Jay-Z because you would learn and get all this access and network. And I'm like, take the fucking $500,000
exactly.
in cash.
He'd buy you the steak dinner and then you'd never hear from him again because he's a busy guy.
I'm like, you dummies, like take the $500,000, go do something else, put it in like that lunch is not, dinner, whatever, is not worth it.
No.
What do you think young entrepreneurs are doing wrong in this moment that you see?
A couple things. And again, this is a very wide generalization. I think everyone is expecting virality. They're not looking at building a long-term successful business that takes 10, 15, 20 fucking years to build. Like, come the fuck on. You think in a year you're going to be a millionaire? Like, no. They haven't figured out how to handle rejection and they give up too early. I say in my book, sometimes I'm still here just because I got back up the next day and I showed up. Like, I had every reason to go home and every reason to be like, let's close up shop. But I was like, well, let's try it again. And so it's that getting back up. And I think that we're in this like, Amazon Prime, like, let's prime our success. And you just don't get that. And not everyone has to raise money and be like a big $1 billion brand. Like, that's a sickness that's going around that a lot of people, their businesses aren't meant for that. They might not even be meant for private equity. What happened to the idea of like Main Street USA, where you had a successful, profitable business that funds your lifestyle? And I think this sexiness of like, I raised $1 billion is short-sighted. I was on that. I was in that mindset.
It's a delusional too sometimes in certain areas. It's like there's a delusion happening.
Well, a
yeah,
lot of those,
it's just so easy to just go, you know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into that.
A lot of those, not to go on a super like, economy and capital conversation, but a lot of those people that did that and raised those huge dollars and then couldn't sustain those valuations or those sales, their companies are gone.
Yeah.
And the people don't realize like some of these investors are quick to discard things that are on the downward trend. They're not coming back in for more money. It's like, hey, this one didn't pop. I got to go focus on the one that is. And they just kind of throw you out.
Yep.
People don't talk. There's a lot of, I could go on a tangent about that, but there's a lot of dark side about raising capital and from who and with whom and all of that.
And I think there's a trade-off, right? Like, you might get capital, but now you are owned by other people. You have no say in the trajectory of your business. And this sickness of like, we don't need to make money. We'll figure that out later. Like, we did that. And then when it was like investors were like, no, you need to make money. We're like, oh, okay, that's going to take a while to figure out. And like, people don't have that time these days for that.
What kind of pivots have you made when it comes to your brand? Like, it sounds like you sort of bootstrapped it. Would you call it that to begin with?
We bootstrapped it for the first 7 years. My co-founder, my brother, and I, Rebecca Minkoff, and he mortgaged his house. He maxed out his Amex. That was how we were funding the business and its growth. Finally, we got to a size where we could afford a Factor, which is a purchase order financing company that fashion industry people will often use. And then we waited till 2012 to take in some private equity, a very small part of the company. And that's how we grew it.
At this moment right now with where you are, what are some really important lessons you've learned about operating? Because I think, and I get into this too, is like, I'm so creative and I want to do all these creative things, but to run a really successful business, there has to be logistics and operation. And Michael's a little bit better than me at that. How do you think about that?
So for the longest time, my brother was the CEO and operator. And I was like, I'm the designer and that is all I do. And many a time he would have conversation with me like, you need to learn the language of business. You will be a different and better designer if you understand that. And I really resented that, but he was right. He also was like, you need to be in front of the camera when that age started dawning. And I was like, no, that's for influencers. That's not for designers. And he was like, you're wrong. And embracing that first like selfie, I wanted to puke. And it's, now we're a media company in a little bit, and I'm a designer, but it's like, that's another pillar that you had to add. So I think him pushing me was really what turned that for me. But I would say find the people that are what you are the worst at. Like, don't trust me with a financial spreadsheet ever. Like, hire for your weakness, I think is the best advice I could say.
What does your team look like today? So
we have about 30, 35 people today. COVID, it was 60, just to give you like the scale of size wise that we shrunk. We have PR, we have marketing, we have e-com, we have design. We have an in-house photo team, but it's still a very tiny team for the size of our company.
What's the process of creation? Like if I say I want to create a coin purse tomorrow, how quickly does this actually happen for you?
Well, it depends on who you ask. If
Okay.
you ask my CEO, she'll be like, we need a year for it to hit shelves. And then sometimes I'm like, we don't have a year. This is a big deal. She wants a coin purse. Let's make it happen quicker. So sometimes we can compress the timelines depending on what it is. Like I have a collaboration coming out in February of next year where my CEO was like, not doing it. And I was like, okay, I will. I'm doing it. And so I'm running that project outside of what she's doing.
It sounds like the COO keeps you in line.
She does, but I also think that sometimes you have to break things. And
Yeah.
we're still a small enough company to break things. We're not so corporate and big that we always have to follow the rules.
When did you decide to bring on is it a COO or CEO?
CEO.
Okay.
So
CEO, excuse me.
we sold the business 2 years ago, almost 3. My brother was the CEO. We had a president. And so when that transaction happened, we said to the new owners, she needs to be the CEO.
Was she functioning as like a COO before?
I would
Like an
say
operator?
president, which is more forward-facing sales, merchandising. And my brother was kind of CEO, COO.
Okay.
So she took on CEO. Her name's Daniela Bocressian, shout out. And she's still the CEO.
What does your day-to-day look like now?
So different. There is no set routine. Some days I'm filming content all day. Other days I have the podcast that I try and batch. I would say that twice a month I'm meeting with my studio director who's been with me for 18 years. So she runs the design team now. And so I just kind of download and dump to her all my ideas, inspiration. And so then she can take it and run. And then sometimes we're reviewing the designs. Other days it's a touch base with Daniela, my CEO. It's like every day is different. And that's what I love about it.
How does one decide to do Real Housewives? Like what? Tell me the real process behind the scenes. Like does
Tell me
Aaron throw something
what
out?
tweaked in me that I was like,
And were you like right away, let's do it? Or were you like, I don't want to do this? And then how did you get convinced? Tell me like way before you even started filming what that looks like.
I watched the first season and I was like, okay, I like that no one is a housewife.
Uh-huh.
And I like that it's showcasing, for the most part, except for maybe 2, like entrepreneurs, self-started women with businesses.
Yeah.
And I liked that the drama was pretty tame because there was no way you'd ever get me on like a Miami or a Salt Lake.
Some of it is like the Jersey is like, they're just going for, they're hurting people's reputation.
Yeah.
This is different.
I'm not here for that.
It's fresh.
Yeah, just like I'm a girl's girl and I'm very supportive of women. So it was a risk to like even to do the little light drama that we have. But actually a friend was like, hey, check your DMs. Someone's trying to reach you from Bravo. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I checked the DM. I had many interviews and I was very upfront. I said, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to throw these people under the bus. I'm not going to stir up drama that like, just because like that's just not who I am. So I might not be what you want, but I can't be something else. And I guess they felt like they needed it or wanted that to the mix. I had gotten to know Erin actually a year ago today, and I thought she was great.
She's cool. Huh?
Yeah,
I've
she's
never
very
met her,
cool.
but she seems cool.
Yeah, she's very cool. And I knew Jenna from the fashion industry, and I knew Sai. So I felt like, okay, I know 3 out of the 7. Like, let's just, I said to Daniela, I was like, I'll go on the journey of the interviews and the meeting and all the thing, and we'll just see how far I get. It'll be like Survivor. And then I got to the end and I was like, oh shit, I have an offer to join.
And when you got the offer, were you like, fuck yeah? Or were you like, let me think about it?
I was trepidatious about it because it's one thing to be known as a designer and to have dealt with what I've dealt with for 20 years with that perspective and awareness. It's another to put yourself on national television and now be up for, people to just be like, oh, you're just a person that I can hate.
Yeah. And Housewives, though, the particular season, it's I feel it's elegant, it's fresh, it's different. I feel like they rebranded.
But it is like, I get we've had different people that come on reality TV on this platform, and it's like, Lauren and I will catch flack or shit on the internet, whatever, but the type of commenting that goes on when people enter the world you're in now it's a whole different ballgame.
It is wild.
It's like they feel like they have kind of like ownership.
Yes.
Don't read the comments ever.
Oh no, I don't. Don't worry.
My friend said, don't touch the stove. Why would you touch the stove if it's hot?
Right.
Not that I'm sure you don't have to worry, but like, I just wouldn't read the comments.
That was the first thing Sai actually told me. She's like, what you're going to do is you're going to not read the comments. And I was like, great. Taylor's reading the comments now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the problem is there's 500 nice ones and then you get one mean one and that's all
we stick on that one.
Yeah. So it's just like, just don't even touch the stove. That's my advice. Do you have to go on the girls' sleepovers? Because this intrigues me. Like,
that's the deal breaker for you.
No, I can't. I I just am not I'm a girls' girl, love it, but I'm not a girls' sleepover kind of gal.
Oh, yes. I was on all the sleepovers.
Did you want to do that? And if so, or if no, is it fun? Was it surprising? Did you like it? Was it a nightmare?
It was just exhausting is what it was.
That's why I'm like, I'm good.
I was told, like, get ready, like cameras are up at 7 and they don't go down till midnight. And when you're filming and you got a mic on you and there's cameras, like there is no relaxing. Like at one point I remember I was on my computer at a moment where something was happening. I didn't need to like be a part of that conversation. And a camera swoops in and I was like, can you give me a minute? I'm answering emails. Like,
and they won't.
Well, they did. And they're very respectful, but it just was like, I hadn't been used to 4 days of being like, oh my God, anything I say, anything I do.
Do you forget it all? Like, do you forget that you're being filmed at any point in time?
I did not.
It was just always.
You probably will by your third season.
I was like highly like, right. The only safe zone is the bathroom and then your bedroom.
What if you stay in the bathroom for a couple hours?
When I get mic'd up, I forget and I go to the bathroom. We're just like in there and she's like, it's not great.
Disgusting.
No.
Well,
you gotta
I just forget what's going on. I'm like,
Oh.
You gotta go.
Okay.
Oh my God. No, I would always be like, can you turn my mic off? I gotta go to the bathroom.
I feel like I would just go in the bathroom and lay with the Barefoot Dreams for a little bit. Do a sheet mask, relax in there, do a habit stack.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm so constipated. I gotta be in here for a couple hours.
Yeah, I would need the girls' trips intrigue me to no other. I'm like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You are performing. You're probably worried about your posture.
I was very worried about my posture.
Yeah, because
I tend to slouch anyways.
I know. Geez, I feel like
I'm worried about my posture.
Yeah, and on camera you can like see every detail.
Yes, I think in half the episodes I'm like this because I was just like, I forget.
I didn't notice that. I watched it. Didn't notice it once.
Well, I was erect for the first one.
You were erect.
That was like my big reveal.
She was erect. I'm like, I can't remember your posture not being erect. It was erect.
I'm not going to say that.
What has the experience been like upon reflection? Meaning, is it more drama, less drama? Is it surprising you? Like, what are the things that you've pulled out of it in retrospect?
So I'll say this. We've always taken big risks, company-wise, business-wise.
Yeah, smart.
Whether it was using influencers, going on social media, talking to our customers, all things that are very normal today, no one was doing. You know, the store of the future that my brother conceived with the touch screens that now like every store has it. So I think for us, I like to take risks and I like to do scary things. It's now how I might get my adrenaline. So this was a big risk and very scary. I think the thing that I've learned is that it's you know, Jenna Lyons summed it up. She's like, it's the best and the worst thing.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I don't understand what she's saying. And now that we're done filming, I'm like, it was the best and the worst thing because it's an emotional roller coaster, right? You have these friendships, you have these fun interactions, you have pranks you're playing, and then there's a big fight. And I'm not like that. So like, that was a lot to like be around sometimes.
I can imagine. That's what I mean, I see what she's saying. It's the best and the worst. I bet it's also amazing for business.
Yes, it's amazing for business.
It's a great tool.
And anyone pretending that it's not is lying.
Like people are pretending it's not.
Well, like some people don't go out and say like, yeah, partially why I wanted to do this is it's good for business. And apparently
it's like business
people don't
fame.
like that. Like, oh, that's not real. Like, well, why else would you expose your entire life, You know, like
Yeah,
just
sometimes
for fun, just because you felt like you needed to give yourself to humanity. I don't
Who
know.
are we talking to? There's like, someone that went on, and I always ask like people why they, I think it's very honest for you to say that, but sometimes you'll talk to people that have done what you're doing. It's like, well, I don't know, like maybe thought I could be like, I'm like, did you want to just get famous or do you want your business to blow up? Just say it, like, it's cool.
Either
fine.
one, right?
Yeah, either one.
What,
or both.
what are the other two things that you thought would happen?
We have had so many celebrities and influencers come on this show and open up about lipo. And I'm so happy that people have opened up because it's been sort of like a hush-hush secret. There's a lot of people that don't actually tell the truth about it. And there's this new lipo. It's laser-assisted lipo, and it's by Sono Bello. Basically, it's at the forefront. So they use an LAL technology. And they showed me the outcomes. Like I got to see the before and afters, and it was actually wild. I think that I want to interview someone on this. Lipo used to be such a bad word. It was so taboo, and people were doing it secretly. And now people are being really open about it, which I think is great. It's gone in one comfortable visit. And I have to say, like I said, the results look very good. I'm looking at these before and afters. Save big during Sono Bello's Friends and Family Fall Savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/skinny. That's Sono, BELLO.com/skinny.
With Thanksgiving just around the corner, it's time to start thinking about those special moments, gathering around the table with ones you love, sharing meals, and making memories that last a lifetime. And this year, Good Ranchers is here to make that feast even more special. With Good Ranchers, you can skip the chaos of the grocery store and the last-minute panic over finding the perfect food for your Thanksgiving meal, because when you choose Good Ranchers, you're getting America's best meat delivered right to your door so you can sit back, relax, and truly enjoy Thanksgiving. And with our exclusive code SKINNY, you'll get free Thanksgiving ham in your first delivery. That's a 10-pound spiral cut ham at $110 value, completely free. So why is American meat better? One, there's no antibiotics, hormones, or seed oils because it's local. You can trust the American process. Two, it's steakhouse quality. The meat truly tastes better and you won't want to go back. And three, it saves time and money. All the cuts are pre-trimmed, which makes meal prep so easy. They're all individually packaged and vacuum sealed, so you have less waste and you never have to throw freezer burn cuts away. This is a truly special time of the year. There's nothing better than gathering around the table with family and friends. Why not do it with incredible high-quality cuts of meat and fresh American food? Again, with our exclusive code SKINNY, you'll get a free Thanksgiving ham in your first delivery. That's a 10-pound spiral cut ham and $110 value, completely free. All you have to do is subscribe to any Good Ranchers box and use our special code SKINNY to get a free Thanksgiving ham with your first order, plus free express shipping. Just head over to goodranchers.com and use code SKINNY. Again, that's goodranchers.com, code SKINNY. Make sure you act now to make that Thanksgiving extra special and get that free Thanksgiving ham.
I am all about breathable, natural, long-lasting cotton. So we're teaming up with cotton, the fabric of our lives. I am really trying to be so intentional and mindful about what I'm wearing when I'm home, relaxing with my kids, being present. So when Cotton reached out, I was so excited. I'm sure all you guys know that going natural with cotton is the move. Cotton comes from the earth, unlike synthetic and man-made fibers. I am trying to be more mindful and present in every area of my life. I want to stay grounded, especially when I'm home. You guys all know cotton. Who doesn't like cotton? It's breathable, natural, long-lasting cotton. It's amazing. And cotton is natural. Cotton comes from the earth. So there's a lot of synthetic and man-made fibers out there in our clothes. I actually just learned, and I had no idea about this, that polyester is made from crude oil. That is the same oil that's used to make fuel for cars, which is wild. I also didn't know that every time we wash synthetic fabrics like polyester clothing, we're contributing to microplastics in our waterways. Cotton has really taught me a lot about synthetic fabrics, and I'm trying to learn more and more. I'm trying to even carry like cotton totes to the farmer's market. I don't want to use a lot of plastic bags. I'm just doing anything that I can do and basically my part. So remember to check the label for cotton and take a deep breath and focus on the present. Cotton is the fabric of now. Learn more at thefabricofourlives.com. 4 children.
Yes.
How old?
13, 10, 7, and almost 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
How the hell
You're in it.
are you doing what you do?
You're back in
You
diapers
need to give
now.
me some some
in
tips.
diapers.
Like we just had to leave our kids at the hotel room to come do these interviews.
Same.
They're
Well, no.
dragging on the leg. You know how, and they want to be held. They want to be, and you feel guilty. How do you do that? How do you manage all that?
Well, I definitely feel guilty. Like when I left this morning, for whatever reason, the last 48 hours, I have a Klingon, like stage 4 clinger in my 2-year-old. So last night I couldn't even change into my pajamas without him freaking out.
Yeah.
So I feel you, and that guilt does not go away. What I will say is you can't do this without a great team inside the home and outside the home.
Right.
My husband is a team player. Nothing, these women that I meet that their husband doesn't share in the duties blows my mind. Like he 100% shares the duties.
Divorce. Sorry, for me. To each its own. For me, divorce.
Same.
If you didn't help me, I would not like that.
Yes. Right?
No.
Like it's not, there is no line that's a woman's job and it's a man's job in the household for us.
Agreed. But by the way, that sometimes works for other people.
Yes. Works very well.
Doesn't work for me.
Does not work for me either. So like we got our helper. We got our empathetic men.
Yeah.
I like to help.
Yeah, you do. You do. I think that this is what I've realized about Michael, and maybe this is how your husband is Michael doesn't look at helping as even he's helping me. He looks at it like he's helping his kids.
Of course. And that's how it should be looked
Like
at.
we had a guy come on here and I liked the guy a lot. And he was like, when I have a boy, like I will never change a diaper. That is like my wife's job. And I was like, dude, when you have a kid, you're just not going to, hopefully you're not going to think that way.
But some men do.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's it's just the way maybe some of them were raised. Right. But yeah, I can't imagine like if my kid needs something, I don't even look at it as like I'm doing it for Lauren.
Right.
I mean, that's a byproduct, but I look at it as like I'm just helping my kid. I'm just being a dad,
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like on the airplane. I'm sure like when he's holding a kid, walking up and down the aisles, they're like, oh, that's so sweet.
They're throwing flowers at me.
Right. And we do it. And they're just like, yeah, that's your job, bitch.
Or they're like, do you have a nanny? Right. And no one says that to him. I'm like, we literally work on the same show.
When I do the school drop off, you just see everyone's like,
I'm not an octopus. Like, what do you?
Yes, we have nannies.
And you know
I
what?
have 2 right now.
Nannies are amazing. They are amazing. And they allow you to be able to do work, be independent. They allow you to do so many things. I think they should be celebrated in the forefront a little bit more.
Oh, 100%.
It doesn't need to be like this hush hush taboo thing.
We shouldn't be ashamed about it. I call my nanny that's been with us for 12 years. I'm like, you're mommy and I'm mama.
Yeah.
Because she's my teammate.
Yeah.
She's there with my 2-year-old right now so that the other nanny can take the other ones who are not in school today, like around the city. And it was just easier to divide and conquer. And that's not normal. We don't have 2 nannies all the time. We actually don't have, we have like a babysitter that picks them up from school and that's it. But like on the days where I have crazy city stuff or my husband's working too, like there's the village.
Right.
Well, I look at it, it's like, I know people will say like having a nanny or help is a position of privilege, which it is. But I look at it as like, if you're going to be building a company or doing any kind of work and you have it, at some point, it's just like,
you can't do it without it.
Yeah, it's like Lauren and I could not be sitting here with you doing this right now.
Right.
It's not even like, do we want it? It's like it's impossible to not have it in our position. We need to, in order to be able to do what we're doing professionally, which then enables us to make a living and provide for the family and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I think in that context it's different than just saying like, hey, we're just gallivanting around and someone's watching our kid. Like,
right. You're not going out all day and like shopping and getting manicure pedicures. Like
right.
I mean, like there's times where obviously we like enjoy ourselves,
obviously,
but the primary function of the nanny that we have is that she helps us and enables us to be able to do what we do professionally.
Yeah.
So what are your sort of, I don't know, pillars of motherhood, your tips to get it all done? Do you have a schedule? Like, is it on your calendar with your kids? Do you wake up? Do you go to bed with them? Do you have anything that you sort of live by when it comes to your home life?
Yeah. We kind of chat every Sunday and we're like, what do you have this week? And we each sort of tell each other what's going on. And then,
Smart.
And then we know who's going to be staying late, waking up early. Actually, my husband is the only one that wakes up early because this kid wakes up at 6 and I'm still breastfeeding him. So he's in the bed with me because I co-sleep with all my children when they're little. And so I'm like, if I'm up a lot in the night, he's like, I'm cool to take the morning shift. So he's usually up. Because he's up, I wake up around 7:45. And then we divide and conquer on the school lunches. He's usually making breakfast. And then we also alternate drop off depending on who has what. So it's really that Sunday meeting that sets us up. And then I know where to fill in the holes. So like when it comes to filling in the holes, like I'm the one that schedules the babysitter or their school activities. But then, I don't know, we just sort of have this dance. Like I know he's going to handle this one's birthday and I'm going to handle the next one's. we have a flow and a rhythm to it that it's kind of like we each know the areas that each other are in. Like he'll plan the vacations.
What does he do for a living? And is he like, do you guys have like a date night schedule? How do you guys water your relationship?
We talked about watering our relationship the other day. He's a director of commercials for the most part. Yeah.
Does he direct anything for your brand?
No, he fired me as a client.
Okay.
He said I treat him rudely when he works with me, but he gets the best out of me. That's the irony is I'm like, ugh, he's making me do this again. He's like, you're so mean to me. Like, I don't want to work with you.
He fired you.
He fired me.
Maybe he'll rehire you after Housewives because you could do like another commercial with all the girls.
Just start a podcast with him and see how that goes.
Oh my God. That'd be fun.
So how do you guys prioritize?
I don't think we do the best job of watering our relationship. Like date nights are probably once a month because the guilt that I feel because I am traveling a lot or sometimes I do work late. I'm just like, I can't do another night out where it's just you and me.
I get it.
And to really just, make us seem so boring. Our date night that we had last week, we're actually going over our housing insurance policy for this hurricane to see, because I was like, honey, I know we have insurance.
That sounds like a date night to me.
But I didn't read the fine print, so I actually don't know what's covered. And
what's fine print? That's what I have you for.
Right.
Fine
so
print
then he's like,
is not my area.
I was saying if I was like a bigger scumbag, I could all of our money could be siphoned
fine
out and
print
you would have
so
I could just be like,
right. Get a husband to read the fine print.
Well, he was like, I thought you read the fine print because you handled the insurance. And I was like, I just signed it. It looked good. I got hurricane, but not flood insurance. But I don't know if wind is covered. And he's
Lauren
like,
is so wild. She leaves the house with no credit card, no ID, no gas in the car.
You are freeballing.
Runs out of gas on the freeway.
It takes away from my capacity to put other
runs
places.
out of gas on the freeway, has no way to identify herself, has no way to pay for anyone to help.
I do like running out of gas.
Did you get arrested?
Did I get arrested?
For not having a license?
It's
no,
insane.
I have a couple tricks that I do when I get pulled over.
But you know what?
Yeah,
like,
I have actual
she'll get
real
pulled
tricks.
over and these guys, she's like, oh, they always let me go. And I'm like, listen, they pull me over. They never let me go.
No, it's not about my boobs or anything like that.
I was just going to go there.
Tricks. I have some tricks.
Yeah, I'm sure that the guy looks at you, he's like, oh, he lets you go. For me, he's like, we're throwing the book at you, buddy.
I like running out of gas though, because I can pull over on the side of the road and then I almost feel a little helpless, like someone's coming to get me and I can just work on my phone.
Let me tell you something. There is not a man listening to this or in this room that would ever venture out into the world with no credit card ID and think it's going to work out for them.
I have wallet on my phone, but it's on 3%.
It's insane to me that this happens.
You're living on the edge. And there's no payphones now, so you really can't call for help.
If you're a man, you're like, listen, sir, I don't have any ID or any money.
I like the
need
adrenaline
help.
rush, like you said, maybe a little bit.
Someone's going to smack you away.
Everyone in this studio, raise your hand if you read the fine print.
I read the fine print.
No, okay, he reads the fine print. What's your name? Michael. The two Michaels read the fine print. No one else reads it. There's a lot of people in here.
I just was like, wind? Sure.
Or at least have somebody help you read the fine print.
I do. That's the point.
Yeah. You know? Same in my marriage. I'm like, you got to read the fine print, babe.
What does your husband think of you joining Roni?
His exact words were, this is your decision. I'll do which way you want. And I was like, went to say to him, I was like, okay, today's the day. I got to like yay or nay. And I think I'm going to do it. He's like, you're fucking crazy, but here we go. And
Does he have to participate?
No, he did not.
Does he want to be on
I'm a friend of.
You're a friend of. Yeah, but I bet next season you'll be.
I was going to say, because the husband's, I think the biggest liability for that show or the franchise, and again, like I viewed, it's the husbands. A lot of those husbands get taken out.
Big housewife watcher.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
So do you like Hobbit or Abe? Who do you like?
Yeah,
Mel?
who's your favorite?
No, I don't have a favorite, but I just watch what happens to some of these guys, and it doesn't end well for a lot of them.
I think that's fine that your husband's not on it.
He will not go on. After seeing the husbands, he's like, nope, not going to do it.
Smart.
Also, I feel like there's something with the husbands where they do want to stay out of it, but they get dragged into it, and then they regret getting dragged into it.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be on it.
Yeah.
He's just not interested. So who knows? That might be a deal breaker.
What do you do with your children? How do you think about putting them on TV?
I'm conflicted. My daughter is in one episode if it gets edited in. But I'm really not sure about how I feel about it at the moment.
I would relate to that. If I was on reality television, I would feel the same. It's almost, there is a confliction.
There it's like many layers, which I hadn't anticipated. Like ooh, I don't want weird people knowing who, like what she looks like or,
Yeah.
right? But then there's the flip side, Raquel, who's a full cast member, her daughter and son are on the show and they're in high school. So everyone has a phone. So anything that happens on the show, these kids know, and the bullying that can happen and that isn't something I had considered because I don't have teenage kids with phones.
And what does she say about that?
She just said it's really difficult because anything that happens on the show, like they could get made fun of or get flack for it. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Like,
who's been your most interesting connection about with the whole show? Who have you like been like, wow, I really like this person?
Uba.
She's cool, huh?
Yeah. So I obviously didn't know her and only saw the first episode and the reunion. And I was like, this is a very angry woman that I'm going to stay away from. I do not want to get on her bad side. And she's the exact opposite. She only gets angry if you poke her and you keep poking her and you do unfair things. And then rightfully so, she gets angry.
What do you do with alcohol? What's your vibe with alcohol? Like, have you decided, like, do you have a rule or do you just do kind of what you want?
On the show?
On the show, yeah.
So I don't drink very much in general. Again, because I have a child that wakes me up and
we get it.
Yes. So if I am going to drink, it has to be like I'm away from the kids and it's a fucking celebration.
Okay.
But it was my first season. And so I really chose up until like the last few days. I just said, I'm not going to drink. I don't know what I'm getting myself into and I want to be in control.
And are you glad with that decision looking back?
Hell fucking yeah.
What's your drink of choice?
I love a Negroni, but I get a really bad hangover. So I'm like a skinny margarita girl.
Okay.
Negronis are so good.
Aren't they delicious?
I had too many skinny margaritas last night. The weird thing about New York, you guys, is that you don't really get too hungover here.
Really?
Yeah, there's
I don't feel that
something
way.
in the energy where you like wake up and you want to just keep hitting it.
Ooh.
I think the city gives you a little bit of an adrenaline kick, especially maybe if you don't live here.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, when I
You
get
do get
here,
that
I'm not
dose.
as like hungover as I would be. This is so weird in Austin. Like I'm like ready to go.
Do you think that no, that doesn't?
Oh no, I ventured out. I was kind of hungover today. I ventured out and had an uncommon drink for me. Yeah.
I don't know what was going on with you today. Michael went
What did you guys do that you were like partying? And where was I?
Not partying.
We need to get a drink. We'll have to get a drink.
We went out to dinner last night with some friends of ours, just two people, and they order it's a vodka martini with the dirty ingredients on the side. So like the juice and the
I don't know
stuff.
if that's your drink
And then
choice. I was going to break
So
that
I was like,
to you
okay,
today.
I'll venture out into these
I don't know that
waters.
that's the one for you.
I don't know. I was hiccuping all night. It was a whole mess.
He's like hiccuping.
Just
He's
on
like
one
trying to
or
hook
more
up.
than
I'm like,
one?
get away
Two.
from me. I just put on my silk pajamas.
She denied
like,
me. She's like,
yeah.
I was hiccuping
Normally
all over
I
the
don't
place.
deny. I'm just like, okay.
That's so nice
Take
of
one
you.
for the team.
I tried to deny the other night, and then I was like, okay, and he was like, what is up with you?
Sometimes, listen, my stepmom told me the key to marriage is you rally.
Yep.
So I've lived by that. But when I have put on my 50-step skincare situation and my mouth tape is like literally on and I have my silk pajamas on and my head is about to hit the pillow and I have my Kindle in my hand, I can't.
Normally I'd be pursuing more, but I realize I'm like, okay, I've been podcasting all day. My eyes are bloodshot.
Yeah,
I'm like
it wasn't the moment.
hiccuping. I'm like,
And
it's just
vodka,
gross. So I was like,
he doesn't drink vodka, so I'm like looking at him.
I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I was like, this is not good.
You did catch a glimpse.
Yeah.
I saw you look at yourself.
I was ashamed.
I saw you look at yourself in the mirror.
I was disgusted with myself.
And you realized, I was just like, not today.
Kids are sleeping in the crib. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's enough.
Nobody needs to wake up
With 4
and see
kids,
this.
what do you do?
Oh my God.
You got to sneak it?
Sneak it.
You gotta sneak it.
Like sometimes in our house in the Hamptons, like we just go outside. Honestly.
That's a good idea.
It's actually
Like
great.
out into the bushes?
No, we're not in the bushes, but we lay down a blanket. It's like your camp counselors again.
Cute. You could do that.
And you're under the stars. It's kind of romantic.
Yeah, that's cute.
Let's get in the bushes.
I'm down for that. Put a little blanket out, do a little setup.
It's
It's cute, sweet. I like it.
There's no one around us. It's not like I'm worried on the neighbors.
Let's hope there's not producers behind the fucking bush.
That would be bad.
They'll catch it. Look what they did to Tamara and Eddie. They'll catch it.
Gosh,
Be careful.
catch it.
I am someone that is pretty specific about the ingredients that I use on my skin. I'm always looking in to what I'm putting on my skin. I want something that's hydrating and cleansing and nourishing, but I also want something with really great ingredients. So enter Pharmacy. I first found out about Pharmacy because I became a fan of their cleansing balm. It removed my makeup really nicely. And then I found out about their best-selling Honey Halo Moisturizer. Okay. This is sourced from pure honey. I love honey on my skin because it really helps with bacteria. It's a great antioxidant. It's really good for your immune system. So I just love honey in a beauty product. And this one has honey in it, but everything about it is really special. This honey is pure and it's from a family-operated bee farm in California. They combine it with ceramides, which is my favorite part, and this locks in the moisture. Pharmacy is available exclusively at Target, or you can visit pharmacybeauty.com and use code SKINNY for 20% off. I would definitely check out this Honey Halo Moisturizer. They sent me this a couple months ago and I was so impressed with how it plumped my skin and gave me like really, really long moisture. Drench your skin in honey hydration. Visit pharmacybeauty.com and use code SKINNY for 20% off your order. That's 20% off your order at pharmacybeauty.com with code SKINNY. Pharmacybeauty.com with code SKINNY.
Quick break to talk about Symbiotica. We are in the era of health, or at least we should be, guys. We have been talking about Symbiotica on this show for years now. We have had the founders of Symbiotica on this show, I think 4 or 5 times, a bunch of times, because they have such a wide array of topics when it comes to health and wellness that we can cover with them, and we love the topic. We also love their brand so much. They have so many incredible products, so many supplements that we take regularly. I think they have one of the best vitamin D3 K2s on the market. That combo is critical. They also have one of the best methylated B vitamin combos. What I love most about Symbiotica is most of their supplements are liposomal, so you actually eat them like food and they absorb much faster and much more efficiently into your system. And right now is the best time for you to try them out because they're having their biggest sale of the year. And like I said, most of these are liposomal. They come in these easy to take liquid packets that make taking supplements quick, convenient, and enjoyable. My favorites besides the vitamin D3 and B12 are their magnesium L-threonate. It's incredible. I think they have one of the best glutathiones on the market, which is an incredible antioxidant. And they have a magnesium spray that you can spray on your body before bed to get incredible sleep. They also have proteins and probiotics and things for gut health and overall health optimization. They have really everything for everyone. Sleep products, you name it. So check them out. You guys need to get your hands on these products while their Black Friday sale lasts for a limited time. Head over to Symbiotica.com right now for 25% off plus free shipping site-wide. Again, that's Symbiotica.com right now for 25% off plus free shipping site-wide.
This episode is brought to you by The Skinny Confidential, the newest launch brow peptide. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. I have been using castor oil, as you know, on my brows and eyelashes, and sometimes even on like little spots on my hairline forever. And the Egyptians used to use it in ancient times to grow their hair, so it makes sense that we would use it now. But I couldn't find one with a little extra oomph, so I wanted to create my own. I added a peptide to organic, clean, cold-pressed castor oil. So it's kind of like castor oil on steroids. The peptide that we added nourishes your hair follicle and really helps you grow hair. So the castor oil already grows the hair and you add the peptide and it's amazing. So how I use this product is I use it morning and night right when I'm done with my skincare routine. So I've sort of like habit stacked it. What I do is I ice roll, do my skincare routine, put on my caffeinated sunscreen, and then immediately in the morning, I brush my brows with the brow peptide, and I also add it to my lashes, even sometimes my hairline. At night, I do the same exact thing without the sunscreen, obviously, and then I'll go to bed and I'll reap all the beauty benefits while I sleep. It's obviously non-toxic. It comes in a beautiful pink tube, and it has a unique custom wand where you can apply it on your brows or your lashes. You're going to be obsessed with this one. It's kind of like my baby. I'm very excited for it. You can go to shopskinnyconfidential.com. I would get on subscription because we're probably going to sell out. We do sell out a lot. Go shop our brow peptide at shopskinnyconfidential.com.
So your brand. Yes.
What a transition.
Well, I know. On that note.
Well, that's the podcast is kind of like a bag of Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Your brand, what is the one piece that if you were to sort of tell our audience, this is the piece? What is it?
Well, I would say it starts like we're obviously known for our leather accessories.
Yes.
So a bag.
Okay. Which bag?
I mean, I would never tell a woman what bag she should get.
Huh.
There's not like for one woman who is running around the city, it's very different. You know, she needs a tote. Or another woman who, you know, has a car could have a crossbody. So like
Or
there's
another woman who doesn't bring a credit card or a license needs maybe just a tiny one.
Yeah, exactly. Our wallet on a chain.
What the hell's even in your tiny wallet?
Nothing.
Now that I think about
Well,
it.
maybe we're going to do a collaboration, this coin purse that like is her ID and a credit card.
But I just had my
cute.
mind blown because I thought like, okay, she
And
actually,
it charges your phone.
you don't carry cash, you don't
Yes.
carry an ID, you don't carry a credit card, but you have these little wallets. What the hell's in them?
Women
There's-
like to collect pouches. It's like a
I
weird
also
thing.
like a little flat lay,
Yeah.
like a little picture.
Yep.
I carry her ID and credit card. Isn't that insane? Like it's
Yes.
in my wallet.
It is.
You can't get
I'm an
over it.
enabler.
I mean,
So you really don't have
should
a
have read
purse.
the fine print.
Do you have a purse?
Yeah, I have a purse.
But what's in it?
Lipstick.
It's kind of
Your-
Mary Poppinsy.
Yeah, I get it. Snacks.
Sometimes a vibrator, sometimes some liver sticks, sometimes some mouth tape. He had my mouth tape stuck to his shoe today.
Love that.
It was stuck
Better than toilet paper.
better than toilet paper. You probably got it stuck to your shoe last night when you were hiccuping from the vodka martinis. It was a lot. Okay, so they should get the purse,
Yes.
a purse, whichever purse fits. But is there something in your collection that is also something that is really affordable that you just think everyone needs, that everyone who's listening could go check out?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything in our Darren crossbody collection, that's like a family of bags, but it has studs, but it like can be a purse, it can be a satchel, it can be a crossbody. I think that's good. Or a Megan tote. Again, totes are big. You need one always.
You can throw everything in it.
Yes.
What is going to happen with your brand and with Real Housewives in the future? Where are you headed? What's the big picture for you?
I think the big picture is it's wild to say we've been around for 20 years. It feels like we're just getting started. I think, you know, the opportunity to be on the Real Housewives and the exposure is not only about business, but it's also about we've been in touch with our customers since day one, even though that was taboo. And this is just another facet of who I am
So cool.
that you get to see. And it allows me to have a bigger platform for my podcast, for my book. Like there's other things that I do and create, and it allows for that to have more life.
So are we going to see obviously more from your collection, more from you on your podcast? I think you're going to be a main. This is my prediction.
Okay.
On the next season, I'm putting it out there in the ether.
Well, truth be told, I was a main,
Okay.
but because some people didn't want to be on TV, we had to scale me back to a friend. Yeah.
Well, I think it's fine. If I were going to do it, I'd dip my toe in it.
Yeah.
You dip your toe first.
I gotta
you see
taste.
you got to taste.
I mean, what these women, like, I think I filmed a lot as a friend of, but as a full cast, I mean, they were giving their whole lives, like, you know, and it's just, it's a lot, and it's an incredible commitment.
A gnarly commitment.
Yeah.
Where can everyone find you, follow you? Skinny 15. What's the website? Where can we shop, get the bag, all the things?
You can shop at RebeccaMinkoff.com. You can follow me at Rebecca Minkoff if you want to see more of my personal life and a lot of BTS at Becky Minkoff. You can listen to my podcast, Super Women with Rebecca Minkoff. I'd love to have you on. No offense. It's only women.
I would love to come on.
We're talking about business and all the messed up shit and how women got there and found their success. And then I have a book, Fearless, The New Rules for Unlocking Creativity, Courage, and Success. And it comes out in paperback next June.
I am so excited for that.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. What is in Rebecca's bag?
Should we just do it together?
Everything. Show us.
Okay, great. Regular sunglasses,
Okay.
my phone.
And the bag, you got to tell us what the kind is, everything.
Well, this is a cute little bag that's coming soon for holiday, little hearts,
So cute.
right? Reading glasses, because I'm at that age.
Okay.
Really upset about that. My methylene blue tablets, in case you don't want to take it. NeuroPro.
But doesn't turn your tongue blue with those.
Well, if you suck on it, it will.
Okay.
But you could, if you wanted, like rubbing up and down your tongue to get that approximate blue that you're looking for and then swallow.
So do you take it daily?
If you suck on it, huh? What happens if you suck on something else after you sucked on it?
I don't know. I'm not trying to get a blue tongue.
Maybe I'll have a blue dick.
Oh my God, that could happen if you have a blue tongue and you rally.
We'll report back.
Oh,
do a
I
follow-up
use
episode.
these because I've read too much about what these phones do to your heads.
agreed.
I have gum because I feel like I need it. Who do I have in here? I have nude sticks and Violette FR, just depending on the mood. Gloss and a lipstick. I really fit a lot in here. I have vitamin B1. I love taking B1.
Why?
It's really, really, really good for your nerves.
Huh?
And so
Interesting.
anyone that feels like slightly anxious sometimes, just pop one of these. Also, when you drink alcohol, this is the first thing it burns in your brain.
Oh.
So I'll always, if I am going to drink, I have a couple of these.
That's
Not saying
interesting.
you won't get a hangover, but less.
I think what did I say to you the other day? I said I think I'm having issues absorbing B vitamins.
Oh,
That's what I said to her.
I don't need to hear every single.
You might.
I think I do.
You could
I
do
need to
it.
talk to Gary Brecka. He needs to come on and.
You have your
he'll
keys.
I have my car keys. I have this little thingy, you pop it on the,
What's it called? Octo Buddy?
This is from Flaunt, but
Okay.
I'm sure it's whatever that. And then I have my wallet. That's it.
Love it. So cute.
I have a lot more than you carry, miss.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? Maybe I'll get a wild hair and do a purse and put my stuff
Well,
in
we
it.
just gave you one, so you
I
better
know, I was
you
just
better
gonna
put
say.
nothing in it and walk out of here.